Well, now it's time to with an non-stop day. It's safe to say we'll have some fun today on Geek World Radio.
Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Geek World. So, in case you didn't know, a couple of really big movie posters came out this week. What were they, Dave?
They were Man of Steel. He's all like, I'm in jail. And Star Trek Into Darkness, where it was all like, I'm Benedict Cumberbatch, but my back.
But you don't know. Maybe it's not.
And there's like destruction around me. It makes like a Star Trek insignia.
Yeah.
Very cool. And I have a cool leather jacket too.
So that got us kind of inspired. We started thinking about some of the great movie posters of, well, really of all time.
Yes, exactly. I mean, movie posters are really important. I mean, generally they're sometimes the first thing you see from a movie before you see the trailer. Mm-hmm. It is the number one sales tool. And frankly, they're pieces of art. I think they're one of the few pieces of art that are still truly respected.
So for this episode, we decided we're going to talk about some of the great movie posters, some of the posters that inspired, some of the ones that we see and love today.
Let's talk about the Star Trek Into Darkness poster first, Anime.
Okay, this one has already caused a whole stir. It's caused a lot of controversy. Why is that, Dave?
Well, it's because it's sort of an amalgam of two very popular campaigns, and they both have Batman in the title. Mm-hmm. One of them is, of course, the teaser poster for The Dark Knight Rises, mm-hmm. which is like all the blowed up buildings in Gotham looking like the Batman symbol. And the other is that iconic Dark Knight series with all of the backs mm-hmm. that we see from people. And it's kind of a combo of the two of them, where you got Benedict Cumberbatch with his leather jacket from behind, and around him is like a destroyed ship that looks like a Star Trek insignia.
Yeah. Now, the thing is that it is a striking image. There's a reason that using the backs of people silhouetted, and the great backgrounds behind them is used. And it works. And that's why they chose to do it that way.
I don't mind it. First off, it's the teaser poster. It's not going to be the final one. Yeah. Second off, it was mysterious, and I think it was a clever way of showcasing the symbol. That being said, of course, it is a lot like these other ones.
You want to see some of the other ones that it's like? Check this out.
Backs.
Yeah.
Baby got back.
And back.
Big time.
And back.
Lots of backs.
So I think overall, we like the image. I get that there are aspects of it that seem kind of derivative of the Dark Knight stuff, but you can't say that it's not a cool image.
It's true. But let's move on from that and talk about something that actually is really cool.
Yes.
And that is the Man of Steel poster. Mm-hmm. I mean, what a great teaser poster.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, one of the cool things about these two posters coming out so close is they both showcase two completely different ways to do posters.
Yes.
You have the Star Trek poster, and that's all about throw together all the stuff that's already worked. Mm-hmm. Have the Dark Knight thing where you have the destruction make the iconic symbol. Have the person with their back. Mm-hmm. Have this whole mystery thing. We've seen this kind of thing over and over again. And it's effective, and that's why you do it. But then you get the Superman poster, and this one is all about making a statement.
Yes.
It's all about adding some mystery in there.
Yeah, I mean, the teaser poster was really a focus on the costume.
Yeah.
So if you go to Geek World Radio on YouTube, you can see some of our other videos, including one of the costume that we shot at Comic-Con.
Exactly. It's awesome. It's got your music in it, Anime. It's beautiful.
It.
But I gotta say, I just love this poster. I love the fact that, we're all thinking, like, how's he in handcuffs? Do they have kryptonite? And at the same time, it's like, is he just doing this to, like, be like, it's cool, cops. I understand you're doing your job, but I'm the Man of Steel and I do what I want. Either way, it's evocative, it's cool, and frankly, I don't think anyone was expecting it.
No.
It wasn't just like the as symbol. It wasn't like the sort of cool, iconic Superman Returns where he's over the earth, like the Alex Ross painting.
And it wasn't like the trailer where he's on a fishing boat.
Yes, exactly.
Deadliest catch.
It was not the deadliest catch.
Apparently he is the deadliest catch.
Yes, exactly.
So at that, I think we should move on to some of the great posters of all time.
Let's do it.
So, Dave, what are we going to start with?
All right, well, I think the first one we should start with, one of the most iconic posters of all time, 1927's Metropolis.
That is an amazing poster.
It's got that cool, like, robot chick on it, and it's got, like, the city behind her. Still to this day, it's a striking image.
It is, and it really feels like a piece of art. It's the kind of thing that you hang on your wall.
Okay, so next up is another huge one for all you sci-fi fans out there, and that's Forbidden Planet.
Yeah.
Now this poster was from 1956.
Right. Right. This is one of those incredible images. I have to say that this might be one of my favorite posters.
Yeah.
I love the old posters because they're such art to begin with.
Yeah.
But the image of Robbie the robot carrying the girl. Mm-hmm. Now, if you've seen the very famous 1966 Gone with the Wind re-release poster.
Yeah.
Look at it next to the Forbidden Planet poster. Notice how similar that image is?
Yeah.
I mean, that is a clear indication of just how incredible and beautiful that image actually is. It doesn't matter that it is a robot and a girl. The image itself is still beautiful.
Yeah, but I have to say, Forbidden Planet is far more romantic.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Definitely. Okay, next up. This is my favorite horror movie of all time. 1973's The Exorcist.
Ooh.
So one of the main things that influenced this show was the Star Trek Into Darkness poster.
Right.
And it's got the whole back thing.
Well, The Exorcist is one of the best ways that they ever did that. It is beautifully done. It, again, tells you what you need to know, and it tells you you're going to have the crud scared out of you.
Yeah, I mean, it's so ominous, right? Because, like, even if you don't know what the movie's about, you know there's something bad going on in that house. You know that guy's there, and you don't know if he's bad or if he's going to save the day. It's almost like a painting.
Yeah.
You know? And it just showcases just how unsettling this whole thing is going to be without being the girl with a cracked face, puking slime all over the place.
Yeah, that would not have played nearly as well, and it would have, it wouldn't have showed how seriously this movie was taking itself.
Yeah, exactly. Love this movie. If you kids haven't seen it, watch it. Definitely you little kids. Christmas morning, go, Mommy, I want to watch The Exorcist.
Yeah. Okay, so the next one is 1975's Jaws. Okay, so the poster for this is an image that I'm sure you have all seen.
Yes.
The girl swimming on top of the water and the giant shark coming up from below. Like, when I say giant, I'm talking like the scope of this shark. It is huge.
Yeah, I read a little thing where apparently the guy who drew it, he went through a bunch of different versions. Every time he tried to draw Jaws, he kind of ended up always looking like a friendly dolphin. And that's because it was always sort of above water.
Right.
And then he realized, well, let's put it underwater. And then all of a sudden, it is like the scariest thing ever. And definitely, certainly one of the most iconic posters of all time.
Yeah, I mean, you look at that poster and you already start hearing the donut,
Yeah.
donut, you know?
Have they ever done like a cool remix of that?
I don't know.
Get on that, Skrillex! Now. Yeah, we definitely need the dubstep version of that. Do 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 do.
Wow.
Do,
No, I don't think that has quite the same effect.
No? I think it would be equally frightening for everybody.
Well, in a totally different way.
All right, well, we host a show called Geek World, and of course, when you're talking about iconic movie posters, you need to talk about Star Wars.
Absolutely.
1977. Now, they're all great. All the original posters are fantastic in their own way, but really, it's the first one. It's so iconic. You got, Luke. I don't know if Mark Hamill was ever that muscly, but you got Luke with a lightsaber. You got, like, sexy pants, Leia in there, which, by the way, apparently, the model for Leia was actually the wife of the artist who drew it.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And then, of course, a giant Darth Vader helmet.
It's a family portrait.
Exactly. It's beautiful. I wish my family portraits were that cool.
I know.
They were not.
And this is certainly one of those posters that inspired so many other posters, be it if they are like doing it in a kind of comedic way or if they're just trying to model themselves after the look of it. But there are so many posters that have that similar look because of how incredible the imagery is.
Like one of my favorite posters, Army of Darkness. Now, not only does it take from this, but also takes from just sort of those old great Conan covers and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, one of the great things with that poster is that, you've got Ash out in front, like the girls behind and
and
it's
stuff.
So funny.
Yeah, and Bruce Campbell was definitely that jacked.
Oh, absolutely, no doubt.
He is right now.
Yeah, he always is.
Every time I watch Burn Notice, it's like, dude, take the needle out. You're big enough.
So the next poster we're going to talk about is Ghostbusters from 1984. One of the really cool things about this is kind of one of the starts of viral marketing. Imagine, if you will, a poster with just the Ghostbusters image and nothing else.
Yep.
No names, no, I think they might have had a date of when it was coming out.
Yep.
But nothing else. So it's this big mystery. What is this weird thing?
And, you know, it was a big gamble. You got a movie starring some of the biggest names in Hollywood at the time, such in comedy, Dan Aykroyd, Bill Murray, and, you know, Sigourney Weaver. And it's like, you know what? They were ballsy enough to just put that out there and let it, like, soak in. And, of course, it worked.
Now, you know, there are other movies that have done the same kind of thing where it's just an image, like Batman.
Yes.
But, you know, people know the Batman symbol. You know, there's enough people, even if, you know, they weren't as, you know, familiar with it, even if they hadn't really thought of it in years. The fact is that it is an iconic image. But this Ghostbuster symbol, it was nothing anyone had ever seen before because it was a totally original idea. By the way, for those of you who don't know, Dan Aykroyd's dad was a total ghost hunter, which is awesome and totally adds more awesomeness to that movie and the poster and everything else.
1984, one of my favorite posters of all time, A Nightmare on Elm Street. Wes Craven's great horror movie. You got the girl and, like, you know, you see her bare shoulders in the bed and you're like, ooh, what's going on? Is she naked? But there's like these claws over her and she's like, scared. And it's awesome. You don't even get to see Freddy because you don't need to see it. The iconic claws are there. It's like, it's painted. It's beautiful.
And at the time, they weren't even iconic, but they were terrifying. So next up is 1991's poster for Silence of the Lambs.
I love this movie. It's so cool. And not only that, it's got Jodie Foster's face and she's all like desaturated in that huge Death's Head's moth in front of her face.
If you look close at the Death's Head moth, it has the skull on the back. But this skull is a very special one because it's actually a photograph that's meant to represent Dolly's female bodies as a skull. This is an amazing piece from Dolly. It's a striking image on its own. In fact, if you've ever seen the poster for the movie The Descent, they actually recreate the female bodies as a skull. So if you've never actually taken a look at it, I don't know, I think we'll try and like zoom in on it right now.
Zoom!
Now you know.
Unzoom! So the next one, this is a big one. Every dorm room when I went to college had it. 1994's Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
I mean, of course, it's called Pulp Fiction. It looks like one of those pulp books. You know, It's got the tattered edges. It's got, of course, sexy Uma Thurman in her total vamp look, laying on the bed with a cigarette.
Not just with a cigarette, but herself reading a pulp novel.
It's one of those cool posters that it's not about necessarily what's cool about the movie. You know, it's not John Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson with their guns and their afros and
a box of light.
Yeah, it's not like it's there's no samurai swords or Bruce Willis. You know, it's something that's subtle, but something that's really clever, just like a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah, I mean, like you mentioned before, it tells you what the movie is. It itself is a pulp novel cover.
So next up, Spider-Man 3 from 2007. That iconic image, we have Spider-Man and then the reflection of the building with the symbionite costume, the black costume.
Yeah, I mean, it's that duality showing right there. It's like, but they do it in a way that just feels like a shadow, and it is just, it's a striking image. You see it, and you really get a feel for what this movie is going to be, what the character might be going through with just that single image.
It's the poster that's the best of all the Spider-Man movies so far, and, you know, it makes you want to watch it. It makes you want to see what's going to happen. It's got that dark tone to it.
Yeah.
It's just awesome, and I love it.
And then you go to the movie, and you get Peter Parker skipping through the streets.
Yep, dancing around. And that's evil Peter Parker is dancing around, by the way. So, he doesn't do evil too good. Didn't work out well for him. No. With great power comes great responsibility, not to dance around like an idiot. Yeah, that's what Stanley said. Look it up.
Yeah. So next we're going to talk about one that's not just a poster, but a full campaign. The Dark Knight.
Yeah.
This was an amazing campaign. These posters with the why so serious, with the Joker like doing things that were, you know, mocking the Batman image, you know.
Yeah, I mean, you also had, along with all those, you had the back images. You had Batman, you know, in his back, and you see Hong Kong, you see Joker in his back, and you see Gotham City. And on top of that, they also, remember those panel posters that they had with each character holding something up? The Joker was holding up the Joker card, Batman the Batarang, Harvey Dent, I believe in Harvey Dent pin. I mean, there was just a whole campaign. And those weren't even the theatrical poster, which was Batman with the symbol, you know, blown up in front of a building. I mean, it's amazing.
But there are other posters that we just love for other reasons. There's something so cool about them. So what are some of your favorites, like, other than these?
You know, some of my favorite, I love the poster for Hard Candy, when it's got like the Little Red Riding Hood, you know, Ellen Page and the big bear trap around her.
Yeah, that's great.
I think that's a great one.
And it's as deceptive as the movie.
Yeah, it's wonderful. What about you, Adam?
You know, the poster for the movie Identity, it's actually a really creative poster. I don't care how the movie is. But the fact is that the poster it's called, for a movie called Identity, it's a palm print, but each of the fingers are like silhouetted people.
Yeah.
And it's just such a really trippy poster. It's done in such an artistic way, and it's really cool.
So I want to talk about real quick some of my favorite posters from this year, Anna. Okay, first off, I love the Expendables 2 Last Supper poster.
Yeah, it's one of those long ones. It's done in the style of the Last Supper painting, and it's just so funny.
It's awesome. After that, I love the Hunger Games poster. All it is Jennifer Lawrence aiming that bow and arrow right at you. I think it's beautiful. I think it's simple. It's effective. It's a great poster.
For me, one of the ones that I loved was actually one of the Dark Knight Rises posters. I have to say I wasn't exactly the biggest fan of the movie, but I love the poster with Bane kind of walking away with Batman's shattered mask behind him. I think it's really beautifully done.
It's great, and it tells you the story right there. And I think for us geeks who know about, Bane breaking his back in the Nightfall series, that was a pretty iconic poster. Mm-hmm. So guys, tell us what your favorite poster is. You can put in the comments section down below. There was a whole lot more we want to talk about, but how long can this show be, right? Maybe we'll pick up some of it on our show this week. On the radio show.
Yeah, you can tune in this week on Indie 100 and The Point. And don't forget, if you want to get in touch with us, you can send us an email to geekworldradio@yahoo.com, and be sure to check out our website, geekworldradio.com. We have a whole bunch of awesome stuff there.
All right, guys. Thanks so much. See you next Wednesday. Bye!
Well, now it's time to loot with an non-stop day. It's safe to say we'll have some fun today on Geek World Radio.